think of 3-word catchphrases that have had a cultural impact on society, you think of the obvious ones. I'll be back. Why so serious? This is Sparta. Go home, Roger. Did no one watch Sister Sister as a kid? But the 3 biggest words in Premier League football, lads, it's Tottenham. 3 words which summed up the spineless weediness of Spurs and just exactly what Manchester United thought of them during Sir Alex Ferguson's half-hearted team talks. I mean, for Spurs fans, to read that excerpt in Roy Keane's book, do you know how much of an insult that must have been? That Fergie didn't even think enough of your club to even do a proper pre-match team talk. He would prepare to beat Spurs the same way he would prepare to pick his dog poo off the floor. Yeah, you don't exactly need a stretch. That it was such a routine task to take 3 points from Spurs, about as easy as lifting a spoonful of Cheerios. But now, that catchphrase is aged about as well as your P. Diddy tattoo. Hello, I am the Irish guy, and yes, this is the Prem Catch-Up, where I take a look at every Premier League result from the weekend. And yes, I am starting off with that gruesome Manchester United defeat. Yeah, lads, in living memory, Spurs were a team who would be handed a 2-goal lead at Old Trafford and still let in 5. They were a team who could be handed a 3-goal lead against Manchester United and still let in 5. That was football heritage. But now, this is disgusting. Manchester United have now lost at home to Spurs 3 times in 2018, and 2 of them involved a special one. When Spurs left Old Trafford 3-0 with the victory in 2018, it prompted Jose Mourinho to deliver a fiery post-match interview. Do you know what is the result? 3-0. 3. It also means 3 premierships, and I won more of them alone than the other 19 managers together. 3 for me, 2 for them. Respect! Respect! Respect, man! Respect! Yeah, at least with that disappointing result then, you could not argue with the manager's pedigree. He had won more Premier League titles than every other manager in the league combined. But now, Ten Hag has 0 Premier League titles. Every other manager combined has 6. And let's be real, that 3-0 defeat has aged pretty decently, considering that season Tottenham nearly won the Champions League. That Spurs team were literally 1 game away from being crowned champions of Europe. Yeah, the team who were getting bullied by Watford, Burnley and Southampton in the league almost became Europe's best side. Now they looked about as weird as drawing fangs on the Mona Lisa. The second Tottenham Spurs win here was under Mourinho, when he left Old Trafford with a 6-1 win. To this day, the single-handed most revolting and disgusting Manchester United showing I have ever seen, losing 6-1 at home to Tottenham. That should almost be punishable by death. I mean, lads, Ferguson used to call Newcastle just a wee club in the north. Yeah, that wee club from the north recently beat Tottenham 6-1. But lads, the Tottenham side of 2018 were a Champions League outfit. The Tottenham side of 2020 were a Europa League side. But this one, they're not even in the Conference League. Ange Postecoglou's side is not good enough to partake in a Mickey Mouse tournament against the likes of Shamrock Rovers, Noah, and Jagiellonia Bialystok. The last one sounds like a type of Indian steak, and yet Manchester United just made them look like prime Barcelona. This is a disgrace. Manchester United versus Tottenham. Jose Mourinho has now claimed this fixture. And even the Spurs win at Old Trafford before 2018, that was masterminded by Andre Villas-Boas, Mourinho's former slave. But back to the Man United game. This is what happens when you keep a manager who has already lost the dressing room. I'm sorry, but choosing to keep a muddy, grubby, down and out boss just because a cup final went his way. It is ridiculous. This is a man who's just one tight offside call away from throwing away a 3-goal lead to lose an FA Cup semi-final against Coventry. Keeping him in the building after that rotten snot fest. It's a bit like choosing to stay with that serial killer wife of yours, the one who keeps threatening to bite off your ears in your sleep, the one who keeps serving you poisoned soup, and who poos the bed 4 times a night and tries to blame the cat, you know, the one which died in 2012. But you choose to stay married to this witch because she made you a nice cup of tea one afternoon. That is what Ten Hag did. That miracle FA Cup final win was his rare nice cup of tea with a Jaffa cake on the side. But I'm sorry, to see what is supposed to be a fresh up-and-coming young coach, someone who learned his trade at Bayern Munich and Ajax, to see him getting tactically chewed apart by a nearly 60-year-old bloke from Australia, someone who probably spent this week crying over the fact that Tony just left Neighbours. Lads, Postecoglou is the opposite of young and up-and-coming. He's only 4 years younger than Steve Bruce. Postecoglou was managing against Manchester United back when they had Phil Neville at left back and Johan Cruyff's rubbish son in midfield. This man has been around for a while. Look, Bruno Fernandes wasn't lucky to get sent off after his ankle scraped against James Maddison's shin. But come on, it wouldn't have made a difference. And within 2 minutes of the game kicking off, Mickey van den Ven made Ten Hag look like Mickey Mouse when a Dutch centre-half was able to pick the ball up in his own half and just run in a straight line through your midfield and defence, running 50 yards with the ball before squaring it for Brendan Johnson to tap home. Alarm bells should be ringing. Ten Hag says he doesn't fear the sack. Oh, good one, Eric. Yeah, that's a bit like when I was 8 trying to pretend to my mum that I wasn't scared of the monster beneath my bed. You know, the one whose breath strangely smelled of Uncle Tony's cigarettes. Eric, you should fear the sack. Because lads, let's be real, losing your job at a club like Manchester United is not the same as losing it anywhere else. Because of the level of scrutiny, then failing there is worldwide news. A bit like if someone poos themselves on Love Island. I'd imagine it's supposed to be a popular show. Lads, your stock does not recover from a Manchester United sack. I mean, lads, David Moyes before Manchester United was a highly respected Everton boss who's been linked to jobs at European sides like Newcastle, Tottenham and Chelsea over the years. Yeah, his next job after an embarrassing Old Trafford sack was Sunderland. Neither Louis van Gaal or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer ever managed the club football again, right? But the latter went from being Manchester United boss to then having to knock back offers from the Republic of Ireland, Canada, and Norway women. Even Mourinho, let's be real, he went from Manchester United to Spurs. Before Old Trafford, he'd have snapped up a job at a club like Bayern Munich or Juventus easy. But no, Manchester United failure had a heavy impact on someone even as famous and special as him. So Ten Hag, once you go, I see you being lumped into that smelly cave that Moyes was in 10 years ago. I think you spent a year sitting out of the game before then getting offered contracts at teams like Olympiacos, Twente, and maybe Lyon if you're lucky. Chelsea 4, Brighton 2. Lads, Chelsea are doing really well this season, which is confusing. Under Enzo Maresca, someone who I thought would be a completely underqualified donut of a coach, Chelsea have now rattled in 23 goals by the end of September instead. They look absolutely devastating going forward. And I'm actually a little worried for Shamrock Rovers fans. They are going to have their Christmases ruined with an 8-0 pummeling at Stamford Bridge in December, right? But lads, I thought Maresca, some failed Parma experiment, would have all the impact at Stamford Bridge as I would trying to speak to sheep. Yeah, they'd instantly just run away when they see my grim gargoyle face. But no, people now are talking of Chelsea as an outside title threat. And I'm sorry, but if Maresca really does turn into a Stamford Bridge success, then do you know what this will mean for the future assistant coaches of Pep Guardiola? If both Arteta and Maresca are involved in title challenges, then people are going to surmise that if you sit beside Pep for a few months, you are going to soak up managerial genius whether you want to or not. Honestly, when that great man retires, he's probably going to set up a business where instead of young coaches studying for their badges, oh no, then instead just queue up to sit on his lap like some creepy ball Santa Claus at Tesco. Yeah, I once sat on a Santa and I could literally smell dog pee on his breath. Look, Chelsea were marvellous going forward with Fabian Herzler's naive high line getting absolutely wrecked time after time. Lads, Chelsea could have netted 7 or 8 before half-time and Cole Palmer helped himself to 4. This is someone who before last season had never scored a single Premier League goal. Yeah, he's since got 3 hat-tricks and this was his second quadruple. I'm sorry, but when players score 4 goals in a match, they usually have to wait years until their ridiculous next 4 goal haul, like Yakubu. He netted 4 goals for Portsmouth in a Premier League match against Middlesbrough in 2004. He had to wait 7.5 years to repeat that for Blackburn against Swansea in 2011. But Cole Palmer, he's now done it just 13 games apart after splashing in 4 against Everton in April. Christ, well, Cristiano Ronaldo is a world-class goal machine. And he never netted 4 in a Premier League match. Even Mo Salah, he hasn't done that in nearly 7 years. After banging in 4 against Watford in 2018, what Palmer is doing is utterly insane. And Man City choosing to sell him for just £40 million. I know they have a lot of problems on their plate right now, but surely there must be some decision maker in that transfer committee who is quietly sobbing into a plate of shepherd's pie. Lads, instead of spending £100 million on Jack Grealish, they can literally still have Jadon Sancho, Cole Palmer, Michael Olise, and Jamie Bino Giddens on their books for free. What? But yeah, as for Brighton fans, they will feel disgusted and will probably be contemplating boarding a flight to Germany this morning to take out their frustration by throwing eggs at Michael Olise's house. Anyone know why? Because over a year ago, Brighton were closing in on the signature of Palmer from Man City, with Chelsea looking set to complete a deal for Olise to bring him back from Crystal Palace, only for Michael to then have a change of heart and sign a new contract at Sellers Park, forcing Chelsea to go back into the market for their plan B, nicking Palmer from underneath De Zerbi's nose. Palmer was so very nearly a Brighton player, although I'm guessing he is so relieved he never wound up being a Seagull, because I really doubt he would have ended up in England's Euro 2024 squad if he had. They just tried to mold him into being the next Admiral Lallana, someone about as exciting as Walnut Pie. Newcastle 1, Man City 1. So it's official then. Pep Guardiola hates visiting St. James's Park. Lads, both Guardiola and Mourinho are the two greatest managers of the 21st century, and yet neither man has a clue how to hack it at Newcastle United away. For both guys who contested the highest ever standard of La Liga together, helping Barcelona and Real Madrid constantly buzz around 100 points every season in what was such epic title battles. For these two geniuses who've won 5 Champions Leagues between them, it's actually incredible how Newcastle United is their Mount Doom. In 90-minute games, both Mourinho and Guardiola have left St. James's Park with a combined 6 wins, 8 draws, and 7 defeats. And let's be real, 2 of those wins were in a Newcastle stadium where there was no fans in the ground. Another 2 of those wins were when Man City had to battle back from losing the game. That is 15 matches where Pep and Jose have failed to win at St. James's Park. And is it any coincidence that both men were disciples of Sir Bobby Robson, the Magpie legend with the statue outside the ground? I mean, Guardiola said he literally wrote to Bobby begging him to sign him for Newcastle in 1999. The club said no, and a few months later, were offering a job to Mourinho to become assistant coach. He said no. To be fair though, Pep would get increasingly desperate over the years. By 2005, the guy was begging to sign for Wigan. But honestly, Mourinho's curse at St. James's Park looked freaky. One of the greatest managers of all time. And yet, whilst Chelsea and Manchester United boss, he had to make this long trip and see the likes of Patrick Kluivert, Titus Bramble, Papi Cisse, and Matt Ritchie score winners against his teams. It was embarrassing. But it looks like this Goosebumps curse is affecting Pep as well. But look, brilliant Newcastle display, and once again, they frustrated City to roar back after Josko Vardiol gave them the lead, with Anthony Gordon pouncing to win a penalty and then converting it. On a day where he was worshipped by the fans as he's edging ever closer to signing a new long-term contract. And can I just take this moment to tell Liverpool fans, I told you so! Play the clip!
Scorer, well, Anthony Gordon, who will, by the way, be a Liverpool player in the future.
Yeah. They were adamant that Gordon was joining Liverpool soon. The media were even trying to say that he was distracted while at Euro 2024 and was telling his England teammates that he was soon going to go to Liverpool. Yeah, he basically said in his post-match interview that was all rubbish. Why would Gordon want to risk the wrath of returning to a city where Everton fans utterly despise him? Seeing him joining Liverpool at the peak of his powers, his life wouldn't be worth living. He would be too scared to be out in public. Even ordering a croissant at a pastry shop, he'd have angry Evertonians spitting in his coffee. I mean, when he's out to dinner with his wife, he can't be totally sure that there's not a blue-nosed chef back there smearing dog food on his steak. Gordon playing for Liverpool now would be like if Wayne Rooney had joined Liverpool. Just, his life would have been ruined. Wolves 1, Liverpool 2. Anyone? Anyone want to admit they were wrong about Gary O'Neill? Come on, guys. I'll wait. I'll sit here. I will sit here and wait for you guys to tell me that, yes, I knew what I was talking about when I kept saying that a drunken lab rat would do a better Premier League job than this Ratatouille mouse. Wolves are rock bottom of the league. They've now taken 6 points from the last 16 Premier League matches. I'm going to make this very clear. Derby County, the official worst ever Premier League side, with 11 pathetic points in 2008. They also took 6 points from their opening 16 matches that season, but in their 18th match, they took a point away at Newcastle. So if Wolves lose the next 2 games against Brentford and then Man City, they will have less points from an 18-game Premier League stretch than the worst ever Premier League team. You can't let that happen. You cannot let O'Neill oversee a run of 6 points from 18 matches. 1 point lower than Derby. That cannot happen. Well, lads, if that happens, then it means on form, then your team over the last 6 months is officially the worst ever Premier League side, and you just handed him a 4-year deal. I'm shocked. It was so needless as well. It's like me choosing to go down the zoo and propose to a gorilla. Yeah, I'll be halfway through my honeymoon and then realize, what have I done? When the Seychelles hotel kicks us out after she squeezed a toddler to death. Wolves are a complete joke, and their tactics were even called out by another managerial failure called Gary Neville on Sky Sports, saying he couldn't watch it anymore. With Wolves chasing an equaliser against Liverpool, they just knocked it about at the back for minutes on end, continuously passing back to the goalkeeper, and Neville said that they were trying to kid their fans. I'm gonna say this. Last week I said that Frank Lampard would be an upgrade on O'Neill. I actually think if he dropped his businesses and focused on one career path, then Neville would make for a better coach than O'Neill. People laugh at Neville's record at Valencia, but don't forget, he was there less than 4 months, and he still put 10 wins on the board. Gary Neville managed against Real Madrid, by far and away the best team in Europe at the time, and he didn't lose the match. 2-2. Gary O'Neill could never. But yes, good win for Liverpool. Ibrahim Kanate gave them a booming lead from a corner kick before he absolutely melted Swiss cheese for the Wolves equaliser. Inexplicably just switching off by the touchline. It was like someone playing FIFA and the controller just switches off. But it doesn't matter because Mo Salah scored the winning penalty. So yes, the Reds are top, but Wolves, just get rid. Brentford 1, West Ham 1. Lads, Brentford has scored in the first minute of 3 successive Premier League matches. What Wolves need to do next week is win the kickoff. Price will practice the coin toss 15 times a day. Make sure you do that, and when you do, keep possession at the back for a minute, because the Bees have now scored in the first 60 seconds against Man City, Tottenham and West Ham, with then Brian and Benmo scoring in the last 2. Now you would assume that he just set a Premier League record, right? Surely he's the only player in Premier League history to score in the first minute 2 games in a row. Nah. He'd have been devastated to learn that Aguero did it first in January 2019. Scores after 24 seconds against Newcastle, and then after 46 seconds against Arsenal 5 days later. Sorry, Brian. Ipswich Town 2, Aston Villa 2. I apologise. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I said at the start of the season that 21-year-old Liam Delap was a blunt pencil of a centre forward, that he was just a thicker Peter Crouch, that he would be found out and trickling to make 3 goals for Ipswich all season if he's lucky. But no, lads, this former Man City striker, he's a mini Harry Kane. He is right now as good as Kane was when he was 21. And in this weird Lee Carsley audition tape, and yeah, a wildcard like Delap will probably make his England debut. Look, this was a great point for Ipswich, and it's now 4 games unbeaten. But this match makes me feel old, because I remember Delap's dad, Rory, destroy Villa with a bunch of crazy Olympic-esque throw-ins for Stoke. They were like corner kicks with hands, as Stoke win their first ever Premier League match, a 3-2 win at home over Villa. The fact that I'm now witnessing Rory's son also terrorizing Villa, except this time with his feet, actually tying their defenders up in knots with step-overs. Wow, this looks weird to watch. The Delaps are just destined to haunt Villa forever. Arsenal 4, Leicester 2. Lads, I was confused when I saw this result, because last week, the huge talking point was that Leandro Trossard was sent off at the Etihad. And yet here he was a week later scoring 2 goals, including a last-minute winner. Well, yeah, because it's just 2 yellow cards. Belgium was only given a 1-match suspension, which he served when he sat out the midweek win over Bolton. Oh, you lucky man. Look, this is a lot trickier than it should have been. Arsenal were coasting at 2-0 up, and then left-back James Justin morphs into Superman with 2 goals. Honestly, they'll have been disgruntled Gunners fans leaving the ground in 87 minutes, thinking their weekend was ruined, and then they'll have heard 2 big cheers whilst on the phone to their wives in the car. So yes, brilliant Arsenal win. Everton 2, Crystal Palace 1. Needed. This result for Everton was so incredibly needed, and Dwight McNeil should be given free pudding in the canteen this week because he just saved Sean Dyche's job. I don't even want to consider how toxic the Goodison Park fan base would have been if they had lost this match. But no, for McNeil to completely turn the game on its head and rattle in 2 second-half goals, including a delicious outside-the-box strike, it sort of begs the question, how on earth did this saucily talented attacking midfielder not score in his final 49 games for Burnley? Weirdly, his last Burnley goal was, yeah, in a 2-1 win at Goodison Park. Honestly, this guy, he owes Sean Dyche something. Anyway, that's even what you do. Let me know, what do you think in the comments? Well, what do you think? What do you think of the game week this week? It was crazy, wasn't it? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, as always. I'll talk to you in a while.